It's 12:01. Do we get started or shall we give it another minute or two?
We got Mike,
Hello.
Jeanette, Paul Clark. Brandon, are you in for Michael Drillis?
Yes.
Okay.
And who is, I saw
Yes.
Scott. Which Scott is this?
This is Scott Olson from Denellen Parking.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay, looks like the only person we're missing is Harry.
He advised me late yesterday he will not be able to make it. He's on a plane coming back from a conference, so he couldn't call in.
Okay. We don't have anybody to move, right?
Yeah. Well, you could move Scott Olson into Harry's slot.
Okay, why don't we do that?
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Hold on, Sharon. Let me
Okay, you got it.
record my record button here.
Mhm.
Recording in progress.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so I'd like to call to order the July 27th, 2022 meeting of the Middlesex County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. Notice of this meeting was given by sending sufficient notice herewith to the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, and the Jersey Journal, by filing advance written notice of this meeting with the clerk/administrator of each member, and posting a copy of the meeting notice on the public bulletin board of all members. I direct the secretary to enter into the minutes of this meeting the advance written notice of this meeting and this statement. Can I get a roll call, please?
Michael Sika,
Here.
James Brady.
Here. No, never mind.
Pardon me?
Did you say Jamesburg or James Brady?
James Brady. Okay. Mike Capabianco,
Michael Capabianco of Jamesburg is here.
thank you. Scott Olson,
Here.
Jeanette Larison,
Here.
Paul Clark,
Here.
Harry Delgado, Brandon Goldberg,
Here.
Joe Zenga,
Here.
Mayor Heck, William Kurtz, Glenn Kurtz, Leon Sokol,
Here.
Joe Monzo,
Here.
Donna Setzer,
Here.
Jim Gote, Sean Kelly,
Here.
Dominic Sinelli.
This is
Well-
Bob Gemmell in Dominic's place.
B.O.B. Thank you.
Correct.
Robin Rassiopi,
Here.
Patty Fahey, Amy Peroni,
Here.
Robin Campbell, Dave Grubb,
Here.
Joe Rubash, Rob Landolfi,
Here.
Diane Sherman.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Got a quorum.
Okay.
Chair,
Uh,
just for the record, also present, we have Ron Gordon, Bill Northgrave, Charlie Cradaville.
Okay.
And I don't, if you want to officially take action now to move Scott Olson and Brandon up for Harry and Mike.
Yes. Okay, approval of the minutes. So in the packet, there was minutes from the July 20th meeting. Do I have a motion and a second to approve?
Motion, Joe.
Second,
Paul Clark,
Yes.
Mike Sika,
yes.
Mike Capianco,
Yes.
Joe Zanga,
Yes.
Scott Olson,
I'm gonna abstain.
Brandon Goldberg,
Abstain.
Jeanette Larison.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't get in there, Glenn.
Next is the administrator's report.
Yes, finances in the bank, Amboy National, 1,000,885, 166.75. United Roosevelt Savings, 26,343.89. Lakeland Bank, which is now, was Freehold Savings, $5,200 for a total 1,916,710.64. Claim situation. Let me get that. Sorry. Excuse me. Oh, okay. Claims for this year, you should have a composite list. Grand totals, total paid through from 17 through current 22, 18,070,273. The reserve 16,056,048. Recoveries of 1,145,000. Total of incurred 33,126,176. Total claims for 1721, 32,621,661 against the budget of 27,201,564. Of that includes the hurricane loss, 10,940, not 10,000,009, but 6 million, which we hope to collect from the reinsurance. God bless them. And that's it, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Managed care.
Thank you, Chair. June's savings reports, we had 98% network utilization with only 2 bills being out of network. The total charges for these bills was $273,728.10. They were repriced and approved for payment of $53,112. And I think I'm reading the wrong report. Apologize. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to come back to me. I have to bring it up.
Okay, no problem. Is there any report for safety and loss? I know that Louis and-
Only in the packets for the month, Chair, with respects to the claims reports that we send out regularly, as well as claims we're currently pursuing third-party recoveries on, which are outstanding recoveries to date of 4,299,879, and on the general claims count of 8,315,717. Mr. Gote submitted his report for the record, which he had advised me yesterday he could not attend today's meeting. Other than that, we continue to circulate the MEL safety bulletins that come through with respects to getting more people into the MEL safety program, as well as what's up and coming as far as they're concerned. So.
Madam Chair, I'm back up if you want.
Okay,
Thank you.
please, sure.
So Middlesex JIF for the for the month of June, we had 300 claims that were in network, which was an 88% utilization. Total charges were $660,507.37. They were repriced to pay $201,757.24 for a savings of 69% from charges. There were a total of 13 injuries that were called in and required treatment, and I'll be happy to answer any questions on the rest of the report. Otherwise, that does conclude my report.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the report? Okay, seeing none. Moving on to the finance report, which was sent by Mr. Monzo.
Good afternoon, thank you. So you have a copy of the finance report. I wanted to point out two things. So last couple of days, Glenn and I have been speaking about getting an adjusted budget before the commissioners to reflect what the true budget should be for 2022 after we have lost some of our members. So the budget document you see reflects that budget right now. It hasn't been brought before the commissioners. Glenn sent it to me yesterday for review, but I wanted to at least put it out there because the other document was kind of misleading because it showed the budget spending side of, almost double that. I have a couple comments that I still need to make to Glenn in terms of the fact that I think that some of the salaries and benefits numbers are a little light. But once Glenn and I work that out, he plans to bring before the commissioners, I think at the August meeting, an adoption of the amended budget based on new expected claims for 22 and new expected operating expenses. That's the one sheet. Also, when you build that document for what's been paid, does not include a payment you're going to see on the amended bill list that we're going to make for our MEL payment, which is due August the 1st for, I think, $646,000. So that was not on the original bill list that I had. After speaking to Glenn and Dobie this morning, we decided we're going to pay that assessment. It's due August the 1st, paid at this meeting. So I'll cut that check and send it out. Secondly, the assessment report reflects all the assessment payments we've received to date. You'll note that from the last meeting, we got several of the big collections for the second half of the year from several of our members, East Windsor, New Brunswick, some others. I believe Carteret, if I'm not mistaken, Mike, did approve the second payment along with the 2021 supplemental assessment at one of their recent meetings. The checks is not received in Glenn's office yet.
That's correct. I spoke with the finance CFO this morning. He said they mailed out a check for a little bit over $900,000 on Monday. So I would expect you'll get it today or Thursday, depending on when it hit the mailbox.
Yeah, that 900 will cover the balance of their 22 assessment and the payment from the 21 assessment. Obviously, that still leaves, some balances for both years. So we expect to get some of those within the next couple of weeks. There's still an outstanding issue with the 21 assessments, namely with the MCUA and I believe the Board of Education. But Glenn's office is working on those in conjunction with Dobie. And that's my report, Sheriff.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
It was Paul. I don't know if it's directed to Glenn or to Joe. How soon can we get a look at the revised budget?
It'll be early next week. Glenn and I talked about it this morning, but I was in the middle of doing something else. So I want to compare his numbers to what, at least on the non-claims side, because we have reduced some of the contracts for some of our professionals. Glenn's office, the legal amounts have changed because we switched attorneys. So I want to take a look at what the expected costs are, non-claims, through the end of the year. And then Glenn and I can, massage that budget number to bring it in line to what the assessments that we build are for 2022. Again, that's 2022 only because the years need to stand on their own in terms of, a balanced budget. So you'll have it, I would think, sometime by the end of next week, well in time for the August meeting.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Just a clarification, this is Scott. Chair, through you to Joe. So the expenditure budget, the general fund activity to 726, that's the budget as originally adopted?
No, the budget column is the amended draft budget that Glenn sent me yesterday. I wanted to
Okay.
put it on there just to show
Okay,
a number that's closer to what the actual budget's going to be. The previous months had a budget of, I forget, whatever, $12 million or whatever it was. And it
Okay.
wasn't a true reflection of what our actual budget is for the year, because it had to have been revised based on what is now the current membership of the JIF.
okay. Thank you.
Hi, Scott.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to old business.
Yes, Chair. The last meeting I forwarded to everybody, the draft audit from Samuel Klein with respects to the changes in the 2020 audit as declared by DOBI. Not declared, but as recommended by DOBI. I'd like to get approval to the changes that were in the draft and have Michael issue the final. If anybody has any questions, I haven't received any questions since the draft was circulated to everybody.
Does anybody have any questions they want to raise now? Otherwise, can we get a motion and a second to approve?
I'll make a motion for the amended audit.
Second, Brandon.
Paul Clark,
Michael, I'm sorry, Glenn. Michael
Paul Clark?
Sika,
Yes.
Mike Capiganco,
Yes.
Scott Olson,
Yes.
Jeanette Larison,
Yes.
Paul Clark,
Yes.
Brandon Goldberg,
Yes.
Joe Zenga.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, great. Moving on to new business.
yes, Chair, just to follow up with respects to the RFQs for general counsel. These were circulated to the professional committee. We received 3 RFQs with respects to replacing Ed, one from Cullen and Dykeman, which is Mr. Sokol and Mr. Cant, who both have previous general counsel experience with the JIF experience, also including with the MEL with respects to establishment of the environmental JIF and the South Bergen JIF, and extensive experience with working with the DOBI and DCA, and their price came in at what Mr. Testino was charging. We also received an RFQ, which was from Cleary Jacoby. They also have experience as general counsel to the Monmouth JIF and represents various other municipalities and counties throughout the state. And his RFQ or proposal came in at 5,000, which was 5,000 monthly retainer, which was slightly higher than what Mr. Testino charged. And we also received an RFQ from Eric Bernstein, who has experience with respects to labor and special counsel to numerous municipalities and counties. His retainer was also at a $5,000 a month retainer. As everybody is aware, Leon's office stepped up when Ed left, and we expanded his contract from being the coverage counsel to do general counsel work for us as we evaluated the RFQs, which were circulated to the professional committee. And I'm recommending we continue with Mr. Sokol's firm, given our current situation and working with both the MEL and DOBI and DCA moving forward. So if anyone has any questions or.
Anyone have any feedback? Otherwise, we'd be looking for, I concur with, actually, my feedback is I concur with you, Glenn, that I would like to continue with Mr. Sokol's firm. But so I would be looking for a motion and a second to continue on. to appoint them officially.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second, Brandon.
Brandon. Okay. Michael Sika,
Yes.
Mike Capianco,
Yes.
Scott Olson,
I'm gonna abstain.
Jeanette Larson,
Yes.
Paul Clark,
Yes.
Brandon Goldberg,
Yes.
Joe Zenga.
Yes.
Okay, great.
The other item under new business, Chair, is in order to address the item further down on the agenda is moving our meeting date in August to August 30th in order to address the needs of the deficit resolution. So,
Do we have a motion to approve the move of the meeting?
Motion, Joe.
Second,
Second,
I'll
Brandon.
second it.
okay. Mike Sika,
Yes.
Michael Capianco,
Yes.
Scott Olson,
Yes.
Jeanette Larson,
Yes.
Paul Clark,
Yes.
Brandon Goldberg,
Yes.
Joseph Senga.
Yes.
You.
Okay, Glenn.
And also under new business, Chair, is the introducing of the deficit resolution. And I have Mr. Sokol here, who made some amendments to the resolution that was presented at the last board meeting. And I don't know if Leon, you want to address those individually or follow up with respects to that at this time.
I believe the resolution has been circulated, and it deals with approving the special assessment, the supplemental assessment for both current and former members, and indicates that given the budget impact on various municipalities and various members, the payments could be made over a period of time. But given the cash flow analysis that we have, in order to get through the next year, roughly until June 30th or July 1st of next year, the cash flow analysis indicates that of the supplemental assessment, 25% should be paid by that time. And we're recommending 10% within 45 days of the adoption of the resolution, which will occur hopefully at the August 30th meeting. And as I understand it, because the assessment was already the notice for the assessment is already provided to current and former members in 2021, that the 10% should have been budgeted for this year. So paying the 10% should be something that could be done in the first 45 days, and then the next 15% out of the 2023 budget by April 15th.
Chair, as a follow-up to that, once introduced in discussing this with DOBI and representatives of the MEL, it is our intent to set up a meeting with current and former members between now and the final adoption over the next week or two to sit down with former members and have them review the data prior to the actual adoption of the deficit assessment. And also, it is our intent to set up a meeting with JIF representatives, DOBI and DCA to discuss the next steps, since all three of these entities will be involved in implementing this assessment. And it's my intent and was recommended to include representatives of Mel in that meeting moving forward, since they will be a vital part of the role moving forward. If that's-
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table the resolution. As I said, last week we met, the MCUA is still waiting for some information. I don't know about other members. Glenn did provide some. We're going through it. I told him yesterday we're going to be requesting some additional information. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to table the resolution.
This is Scott from Danell, and I have concerns about the what happens if an entity is unable to make the payment within 45 days. The parking authority, though small but mighty, did not budget any additional funding because, as you know, the budget's adopted in October. So, so what would be I know there's a motion on the floor, and I'm just asking for the clarifying information before there's anything further, if that's okay.
This is Joe Monzo. I want to answer part of that. As Glenn said, we've been in discussions separately with DCA and separately through DCA with DLGS and through Dobie. One of the options for any town when faced with an expenditure that they didn't budget for is to try to do a budget transfer for it if possible, based on the statutory timelines, and or do a budget emergency ordinance where the amount gets recorded as a deferred charge and then gets funded in the succeeding year, the first payment. So for example, if a town wanted to make their cash payment this year of the 25%, but didn't have the budget funds to do a transfer, they could do an emergency and then record the deferred charge and then make the payment to the township, to the JIF, and then start the budgeting of that next year and then go on the payment plan that whatever gets approved by the JIF. The other option is they just ignore the payment and wait until 2023 to start paying whatever the schedule is that this body approves. So those are the options. And I understand the authorities, I understand Paul's concerns. However, personally, based on the cash flow projections that we've looked at, that if we don't get at least some, first of all, we need to get all of the 2021 assessments that have been billed. If we don't get all of those and at least some of the deficit assessments that we are put before this body today, then at the end of the year, we're going to have a cash flow problem. Okay, we're going to be in a negative cash situation. Okay, so I understand, Paul's reluctance to vote yes and to ask for a tabling. My personal opinion is the sooner this body approves something that can go out to current and past members, especially past members, so they have something in front of them to know what their obligation might be, and they can try to make arrangements to either pay for it and or budget it now or at least next year. I think the further you delay that action, the more time that goes by, towns can't make those priority adjustments budgetarily if they wish to. Okay, so we all know transfer time is November and December, but we also know that as we manage our towns, that if you got an obligation and you got it in July and August, you might be able to make some changes in some of your budget structure. So, I don't have a vote, obviously, but from a cash standpoint and from a notification standpoint, to most of the current members know because they're either on this call or they get all the agendas, but the former members are probably in the dark about what these numbers might be. So I think the sooner you get something out to them, the better. But I understand, Paul's concerns. That's my 25 cents worth.
Joe, are you talking about this, the 3-year special emergency?
Well, I'm talking about either a 3 or a 1. I've had text conversations with the director about what they might allow. And she had told me they were going to be discussing that amongst their staff last week. I have not heard back from her. I just texted her now when this item came up on the agenda. I haven't heard back from her. So I think a 3-year emergency would be appropriate. But again, that's the director's prerogative.
The 3-year emergency doesn't fit, because I looked at it yesterday. I just actually got an email back from our 2G.
Well, it depends on the amount, because the 3-year emergency approval by local finance board depends on whether the cost of funding it for 1 year exceeds $50 per household. So the director has the authority that if it does exceed, if you did a 1 year emergency and that cost was greater than $50 per household, that she has the authority to allow a town to do more than 1 year emergency. So it would be almost be on a case by case basis, depending on how much each individual entity wanted to do the emergency for. Okay. And it's all scaled, so it might not fit, but the 1 year emergency would fit, and it would accomplish 2 things. It would get us the ability to get the cash this year to meet our obligations. And then it would push off budgetarily the obligation on the towns to start to pay that in the succeeding year's budget, 2023.
Madam Chair, through you, just the particular situation with the Denellen Parking Authority is that the recovery hasn't happened. So we're not getting the cash flow in to be able to meet an obligation like this, and that's why I raised my concern about what the if there would be a penalty. The other question I have is the assessment amount, would that be subject to change after meeting with the former members, or is the amounts written in the amount that's in this resolution written in stone?
So the amount per town doesn't change regardless of the other members. You're on the hook for, each town is on the hook for what they owe. And as far as the penalty is concerned, we haven't really fully discussed that, but the sensitivity of this, I would imagine that we would be imposing penalties on failure to pay. But we haven't fully discussed it, and it's well within our, bylaws to do so.
So given that, I would
Scott,
second Peter's
reiterate
motion.
what Jeanette is talking about. This amount, although it is broken down by member, as of the current actuarial report, is, and it's, I believe, in the resolution, subject to change on future actuarial reports. So if this is a fluid number year by year, and it would be brought before the board subject to change. So it is not chiseled in stone ad infinitum moving forward. So if we get a favorable actuarial report and it comes down, the number will be adjusted by member according to what the actuarial says.
Right, but I think his question was just and Scott, please correct me if I'm wrong. And yes, that what Glenn is saying is every year the number is going to be adjusted, but it has nothing to do with other members. It has to do with the actuarials, which I can't even say, and not the other members. So this year, regardless of the outcome of, subsequent meetings, the number really isn't going to change.
Madam Chairwoman, apropos of what Commissioner Olson just raised, a couple of points, and also the motion that's before the commissioners to table. This is an introductory resolution, and as it says in the next to last paragraph, which has been modified to have the meeting on August 30th instead of the 24th. The final approval will occur after the public hearing at the August 24th, at the August 30th meeting, so that this allows the process to go forward and also satisfies the initial requirement that the Department of Insurance and the DCA expect that the show of good faith in terms of proceeding expeditiously by the fund to address its shortfall problems. But a question for Commissioner Olson: if your budget gets adopted in October and the new budget this October includes the payment of the special assessment, or at least the 25%, and you're just saying that you can't meet the 45 days, but you would be able to meet the payment sometime in 2022?
It really depends on our cash flow, which has not recovered. So I would venture to say no at this point. At least for our little parking authority.
Okay.
Has there been discussion at any level, if someone pays in full, that their arrears are fully paid and met? Because it goes both ways, obviously. If the actuarial report has someone increase or decrease, how is that supposed to be handled in the future? If, say, Jamesburg drops to 300,000, the 330 we're supposed to, I don't want in 6 years for someone to come back and say, now you owe us another 15,000. Subsequently, we can also say we want a refund because our numbers are less. Has there been discussion about that?
Basically, Michael, the numbers as projected by our actuary and auditor are as of the 2020 audit, based on the review by DOBI. And to answer your question, it can go up, it can go down, but you're looking at, a bunch of different years here. So, it may come back, hey, I need another 15,000 in 2015, but you're getting a credit in 2014 for 20,000. So the number is subject to change. I mean, and I don't know if you looked at the entire list, there are a couple of members on there who are actually getting a credit. So.
No, I looked, but my concern is if we just pay and then we get credits, and this can't go on forever.
No, actually, this will be addressed every year moving forward at the January, or as soon as we get the numbers. You're not going to get another surprise 6 years down the road. This will be addressed every year annually moving forward. And I think Leon might have addressed that in the wording of his document, but this will be addressed on an annual basis.
Glenn, at a certain point, don't the fund years just get closed off and there's nothing else to be done with them one way or the other?
Well, if A, this goes through as we hope, and B, we continue with our solid relationship with the MEL. The MEL has a lot of tools to work with respects to closing fund years and the residual claim fund. But, we have to take the necessary steps to avail ourselves of that. So once we get our ship right, I'm sure Mr. Grubb and Perma will talk with us about the residual claim fund that could solve closing out over fund years. So.
And Glenn, it's paragraph number 5 in the amended resolution that says each year the fund will revisit and update its actuarial projections.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions or comments?
It's Scott again. If the motion to table
It's
is,
still on the floor.
if that passes, when would when would be the next time that the resolution would be considered?
Scott, to be honest with you, I would have to be on the phone with DOBI, who was, as Leon mentioned, is asking for the JIF to address this issue and deal with it very quickly, which, you know, I may have to call another special meeting next week to address it, but DOBI wants the JIF to move forward with a plan and get something before them and give us the full 30 days before it's actually adopted. And we can meet with DOBI and DCA before the actual adoption.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think the point is you get another bite at the apple on August 30th, because that's when the true final adoption will occur and the 45 days starts to run. So what this is more a procedural vote to show Dobie and DCA that the JIF is taking the matter seriously and is proceeding expeditiously.
Any other questions or comments?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, this is Amy Peroni from Acroshore. I just have one quick question. I know that the fund adopted a supplemental assessment for the 2021 year. What is the status of the 2021 audited financial statement for the joint insurance fund? Because we are talking now about this supplemental assessment is based on the year-end 2020. So we're in July of 2022. Is the 2021 audited financial statement in the works? And do we anticipate any additional assessment coming out of that audited financial statement for the 2021 year?
Hey, Kay. Hey, Kay, it's Joe Monzo again. As you know, we switched auditors. And tomorrow, I believe it's 10 o'clock, Glenn?
Yeah.
We have a call tomorrow at 10 o'clock, myself and Glenn and the Holman Frenier team to discuss what they need to commence the 2021 audit. So that meeting is tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So once I find from them, you know, they get their feet wet in terms of looking at the past audits and asking me what reports I need, they'll get them, you know, as quickly as I can generate them, and then they'll do their work. I'm not going to put a date in their timeline to say when the audit's due, but the process starts tomorrow.
So in reality, we should be at least anticipating looking at a draft audit sometime September, October.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amy, she was very amenable to our situation and putting a whole team on it. As soon as the board engaged her services, I was signing a draft letter for her to contact Samuel Klein and get all his paperwork. Tomorrow's meeting is a follow-up to that for what additional she needs. So they are aware of the JIF situation to get this done as quickly as possible. So.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
So we have a motion on the floor to table the resolution. Is there a second?
Paul, what information were you looking for?
So I sent Glenn an email. I think I copied everybody on the information I'm looking for. There's some of it came, some of it's not there. There's some incomplete budget information. There's some excess policies we're looking for, some of the lost data. I have a more comprehensive list going out to Glenn again within, I don't know, a day.
Paul, I thought I had dropped everything into the Dropbox, but please send me a follow-up and I'll get you everything you need.
Okay.
Again, is there a second to table this?
Madam Chair, before the vote, Paul, would you be amenable, because I get both sides of this, I want every commissioner to be comfortable at least. And that's just my 2 cents. Would you be amenable if the process continues, but if you don't get anything and everything you need within a week, we call a special meeting and rescind the resolution? Because I think that handles both sides. And I'll be the first one to say you need to be comfortable moving forward.
Right, but this is just an introduction. So, I mean,
No, I get that, but my concern is it's okay, this is just an introduction, and then when we get to adoption, it's just an adoption. Like
Yeah.
at some point, the train has to stop rolling to make sure everyone's comfortable with this.
As I said before, the longer you delay the adoption, the worse off it is, especially for former members. If you introduce this today, and by the adoption date, Paul still doesn't have the information or he's not happy, and there's enough other members to vote no because of Paul's dissatisfaction or your own, then you don't adopt it. But if we don't introduce this, and not to be the harbinger, but the Mel and Dobie are expecting that this board takes some action, and they've made that perfectly clear, and they've given us options as to what might happen if they don't. It's like the adoption of an ordinance or a budget. You introduce it, you discuss it, and when it comes time for adoption, that's when the chips fall. You either adopt it or you don't adopt it based on your own, satisfaction. So again, my 25 cents worth. I'm up to adopt 50 cents now.
I noticed your price is going up.
okay, so again, we have the motion on the floor to table it. If we don't have a second, the motion is going to die, and we'll move forward with getting a motion to approve it. And hearing no second, I would be looking for a motion to approve it, approve the resolution.
Motion.
Motion, Mike,
Yes.
second,
I'll second it.
okay. Mike Sika,
Yes.
Mike Capabianco,
No,
Scott Olson,
No.
Jeanette Larison,
Yes,
Paul Clark,
No.
Brandon Goldberg,
Yes for introduction.
Joe Zanga.
Yes.
Got 4 out of 7, Chair.
okay. All right, moving forward.
Yes, Chair, as a follow-up, to advise the board, the Borough of Jamesburg did officially provide notice of their intent not to renew, which is within the 90-day timeframe. So I wanted to make that clear to everybody that JIF has been placed on notice.
Okay. Moving on to audience comments. Is there anyone from the audience that wishes to make a comment?
Hi, I'm sorry, it's Amy
That's
Peroni again. I just have a quick question with regard to the IDA claim. What retention does the JIF hold on that? I know that there's different deductibles based on the risk management plan for 2021, that there's different deductibles with respect to retention for the members for the JIF itself based on flood zone, not flood zone. What is this handled as all one claim and one retention to the JIF? And how is the deductible being divvied up amongst the members that are participating in the IDA claim?
Off the top of my head, Amy, and I'd have to take a deep look, but in the actual flood zone, the deductible is borne by the member, and it's
It's like 500K, right?
500,000. So they
Okay.
would have to buy the underlying through the plan. But the limits over top, which I believe are 10 million, are shared, but I do not believe all the IDA claims will exceed that $10 million limit.
So if, let's just say there's 3 members that have claims within the flood zones, each member is responsible for a $500,000 retention. It's not
Yes,
a shared retention.
Not a retention is per member.
I was told it's 250,000 and the $25 million amount.
It depends on the location. I'm talking specifically in the flood zone, Michael. I'd have to look where your location was. There is an in the zone location and outside the zone location.
I was told it was that for both by Chubb. Because I argued that the plan of insurance had a $50,000 deductible for outside, and we're outside. And Chubb responded to me that, and I think Thomas was included on that it's 250 with a $25 million total limit.
I know the 25 million is outside the zone, but I'll check into your claim specifically and let you know.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. I need a motion to go into closed session.
Motion,
Joe.
Second,
Second, Brandon.
Brandon? Mike Sika,
Yes.
Mike Capianco,
Yes.
Scott Olson,
Yes.
Ned Larson,
Yes.
Paul Clark,
Yes.
Brandon Goldberg,
Yes.
Joe Zenga.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me just see who we got here, Chair.
Mr. Cradaville is,
Charlie, do you want to stick around after closed or? No, it just the approval of claims in the closed. Thank you.